Hi, this is Rebecca Smith with Help for Homeschool, and today we're going to be talking about homeschool schedules that actually work. When homeschool families first begin homeschooling, one of the first things they think about are schedules and how to best schedule their day. It reminds me of when my family first started homeschooling when I was in 6th grade. My mom bought us each a school desk, like a normal school desk that you would have in a school classroom, because it made sense that we would need a desk for schooling. I could be wrong, but I only remember sitting in the desk exactly one time on our very first day of school. I don't really remember sitting in it after that. The reason is that what works in a classroom setting doesn't always work well at home, and having a desk really didn't work very well in our home for homeschooling. The same is true for homeschool schedules. What works in a school setting with having very rigid set times for each subject may not work very well in your homeschool setting. When people first started COVID schooling back in the spring, I saw tons of homeschool schedules shared all over Facebook. Some of them made me laugh because I knew that if their kids were anything like mine, it probably wouldn't work. Schooling at a desk from 8 to 3 might work well in a public school setting, but will it work well at your home? Probably not. I want to share with you several different homeschool schedules that might actually work well with your kids in your home. This is going to be a 2-part video, so please make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can see part 2 when it comes out soon. Today, we're going to be talking about daily and weekly schedules. In our next video, we're going to be talking about yearly schedules. So you do not want to miss that. The first schedule I want to talk about is probably the one you're most familiar with, and that is the traditional schedule. You have a list of the subjects that need to be completed in the day. You do all of those subjects every day for 5 days a week. Many homeschool curriculums are built on the idea of doing the same subjects every day for 5 days a week for all 180 days of the school year. So it makes sense to follow that schedule if that is the type of curriculum you are using. But even if you are following a traditional schedule, it does not mean that you have to school at a traditional time of the day, which brings us to our next homeschool schedule, which is a non-traditional time of the day. Maybe you have little ones that are very active in the morning and you find that homeschooling after lunch works better because they're napping. Maybe you are working from home in the morning or in the night and you need to schedule homeschooling around your work schedule and your work times. Maybe your kids are teenagers and they just sleep till 10 and you want to make sure they get enough sleep, so you decide to homeschool in the afternoon. There is no rule that says you can only homeschool from 8 to 3. At least no homeschool laws that I know of. Maybe there are states that have those rules, but I don't know what they are. But you can schedule homeschooling for the times that work best for your kids. I know a lot of families that save a couple subjects for bedtime, for read alouds and for Bible. They do that in the evenings. They do other subjects in the morning. Maybe they only do a couple in the morning, then a couple afternoon, and spread out throughout the day. The schedule is there to serve you and your homeschool needs. So feel free to embrace a non-traditional schedule in your homeschooling. Another non-traditional schedule is the 4-day week. This is a schedule that has really been embraced by the homeschool community, and many homeschool curriculums are now built on a 4-day schedule. In fact, Sunlight that we use has a 4-day week option. Now, this is for several reasons. One, many homeschool families like ours are involved in a homeschool co-op, and we go to school, a homeschool school, 1 day a week. So our other subjects, we only do 4 days a week. It makes a lot of sense. You spend 4 days doing your at-home subjects and then 1 day at a homeschool co-op. A lot of families, even if they are not involved in a co-op, choose to spend that 5th day doing fun subjects. They do art lessons, they go on field trips, they go to the zoo, they go to the park. They are studying things that they enjoy on those days to kind of break up the monotony of just doing super academic subjects. Some families even choose to just take a 3-day weekend every week. Do school 4 days a week, then take a 3-day weekend, and instead spread their school year out across the whole year, having a more relaxed schedule all the time. Another popular schedule that you will hear about is called block scheduling. Basically, with block scheduling, you aren't trying to get one lesson done every day of every subject. Instead, you dedicate blocks of time to each subject or to each group of subjects. So you say, we're going to do science for 30 minutes. We get done as much as we get done. If we only get half a lesson done, that's what happens. If we get multiple lessons done, that's what happens. I think you'll see a lot of homeschoolers do this with subjects, especially like math. Our math curriculum is not broken up into clear-cut lessons, so I kind of set a timer and we do 30 or 40 minutes of math and stop at a nice stopping point and move on. It just makes a lot of sense. It also keeps you from being overwhelmed if one subject takes a very long time. You can stop it. You don't feel bogged down by all that you have to do that day. Instead, you're just focused on the one thing during that block. People will even block chores. From 3 to 4 is our chore period. That's when we do chores. We're not going to worry about it the rest of the day. We just focus it in on that block. I think that this is a really good method to keep you from feeling overwhelmed, especially if you're managing a lot of kids. It might not work well if you have lots of early morning interruptions that can interrupt those blocks. I find that I do, having young ones in the house, but it is a schedule that works very well for very many families. And the last schedule that I want to talk about is the loop schedule. The loop schedule is basically where you loop your subjects. Sounds kind of self-explanatory, but it's a little bit more confusing. With a loop schedule, you create a list of all of your subjects, just like with the traditional model. But instead of making sure you finish the list every day, you get as far as you have time to get. You block off some time and you say, we're just gonna get as far as we can. And wherever you stop, you stop. The next day, you just pick up right where you left off and start the loop and then go back to the beginning of the loop. And you just keep going through the loop and you stop where you need to stop. The benefits of this are that you never fall behind in any one subject. I think many veteran homeschoolers find that it's really easy to fall behind in one subject. It's usually science, and they fall behind. With a loop schedule, that doesn't happen. You stay in the same place in every subject. Some people even extend out the loop schedule where they do more for each subject. They may only get through 2 or 3 a day, but they're doing a whole week of history or several days of math or language arts in one setting. If you have a child that struggles with transitions, that might work better. If you have a kid who likes to follow the same routine every day, I have several of those, a loop schedule probably won't work well. My kids always seem to want to start with math and get that over with. I have one that really likes to be in control of what order he does things in, so the loop schedule might not work well for you if that's the personality of your kids. So, what do we use for our homeschool? Really, we kind of use a little bit of all of them. Like I said, my oldest really likes to have a lot of autonomy and do things in whatever order he wants to do them in, and I let him do that. Actually, I plan weekly for him. I give him a list of everything that has to be done that week. I hand it to him, and he does them in whatever order he wants. Sometimes he will spend a whole day on math or a whole day on Latin and language arts and just knock it out. Sometimes he does a little bit all throughout the week. But as long as he's done on Friday, I don't care what order he does it in. I leave that up to him. It's been great for giving him some independent space. With my other 2 school-aged kids, we really do the same subjects every day. Sometimes we won't do science every day or history every day, but we get through most everything most days. But we are flexible with which order they are done in, especially with having littles in the house. Sometimes things get crazy and we have to change things up, and that's totally fine with me. So What schedule are you using? What are you finding works well for your kids? I would love to know. Please comment below. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Like I said, it helps us to keep making videos and to provide free content to you. Thank you so much for watching.